Hello and welcome to the Mindful Zone. Today we embark on a transformative journey, a journey that invites you to trust yourself more deeply through the timeless wisdom of Buddhism, meditation, and mindfulness. These practices are not just ancient philosophies, they are tools for living fully in the present moment, connecting with your inner truth and finding peace amidst life's chaos. In our fast-paced world, it's easy to lose touch with who we truly are. We get caught up in endless to-do lists, societal expectations, and the constant noise of modern life. Over time, this disconnect can lead to feelings of stress, anxiety, and self-doubt. But what if there was a way to slow down, tune inward, and rediscover the quiet confidence that resides within each of us? That's exactly what we'll explore together today. This video is designed to be both warm and accessible, whether you're completely new to these concepts or as someone looking to deepen your understanding. You don't need any prior knowledge or special equipment, just an open heart and a willingness to explore. Together we'll uncover how Buddhism teaches us to embrace impermanence, how meditation helps calm the mind, and how mindfulness brings clarity to everyday moments. Over the next 2 hours, we'll break this exploration into 10 chapters. Each chapter will build on the last, offering insights, practical exercises, and reflections to guide you along the way. My hope is that by the end of this session, you'll feel grounded, inspired, and equipped with tools to cultivate greater trust in yourself and your ability to navigate life's challenges. Before we dive in, take a moment to settle into wherever you are right now. If you're sitting, notice the sensation of your body against the chair or cushion. If you're lying down, feel the support of the surface beneath you. Take a deep breath in and let it out slowly. Let go of any tension you might be holding on to. This is your time, a space to pause, reflect, and reconnect. Throughout this video, I encourage you to engage as much or as little as feels right for you. Some parts may resonate deeply, while others might simply plant seeds for future growth. There's no pressure to get it perfect. Just being here, present in this moment, is enough. So, let's begin this journey together. Whether you've joined me here seeking relief from stress, guidance on your spiritual path, or simply curiosity about Buddhism, meditation, and mindfulness, know that you are welcome exactly as you are. Trust that you've arrived at this moment for a reason, and trust that you already possess everything you need to thrive. Chapter 1. What does it mean to trust yourself? To trust yourself means something far deeper than simply believing you'll make the right decision. It's about cultivating an unwavering connection to your inner voice, the part of you that knows intuitively what feels aligned and authentic. Yet, in our modern lives, this voice often gets drowned out by external pressures, doubts, and fears. Reconnecting with it requires patience, practice, and presence. Think back to a time when you felt unsure of yourself. Maybe it was during a big decision like choosing a career path or navigating a difficult relationship. Or perhaps it was something smaller, like deciding whether to speak up in a meeting or stay silent. In those moments, did you second-guess yourself? Did you look outside for validation instead of turning inward? Most of us have been there. It's human nature to seek reassurance when we're uncertain. But over-relying on external approval can weaken our ability to trust ourselves. When we constantly defer to others, we lose touch with our own instincts. And over time, this erodes our confidence. Buddhism offers a powerful perspective on this struggle. At its core, Buddhism teaches that suffering arises from attachment to outcomes, identities, and even fixed ideas about who we should be. When we cling to these attachments, we create barriers between ourselves and our true nature. By letting go of these rigid expectations, we open ourselves to the flow of life and to the wisdom that lies within. This wisdom isn't something foreign or distant. It's already within us, waiting to be uncovered. The challenge is learning how to access it consistently. One of the most profound teachings in Buddhism is the concept of Buddha nature. This idea suggests that every single one of us possesses inherent goodness and clarity. It's not something we need to acquire or achieve. It's already there, waiting to be uncovered. However, layers of conditioning, fear, and distraction often obscure it. Meditation and mindfulness act as tools to peel back those layers, revealing the light beneath. When you begin to see yourself through this lens, you realize that trusting yourself isn't about striving for perfection or certainty. It's about embracing your humanity and honoring your unique journey. Let's take a closer look at why trusting yourself matters so much. When you trust yourself, you become less reliant on external validation. You stop comparing your journey to others. You develop resilience in the face of uncertainty because you know that no matter what happens, you have the capacity to respond with grace and wisdom. This doesn't mean you won't experience doubt or fear. It means you learn to navigate them without losing sight of your center. You recognize that challenges are opportunities for growth and setbacks are simply detours, not dead ends. Here's an exercise to help you explore this idea further. Ask yourself, where do I feel disconnected from trusting myself? Don't rush to answer. Simply sit with the question and observe whatever arises. Perhaps memories surface or emotions bubble up. Whatever comes, greet it with kindness. There's no judgment here, only curiosity. For example, maybe you notice that you hesitate to trust yourself in professional settings, but feel more confident in personal relationships. Or perhaps you find that you only trust yourself when things are going well, but falter under pressure. These insights are valuable because they show you where you might benefit from additional support or practice. Now consider this. Trusting yourself isn't about having all the answers. It's about embracing the unknown and recognizing that uncertainty is part of the human experience. Life rarely follows a straight line, and trying to control every detail only leads to frustration. Instead, imagine stepping into the flow of life, trusting that you'll find your way, even if the path isn't always clear. This mindset shift can be incredibly liberating. It allows you to let go of the need to micromanage every aspect of your existence, and instead focus on staying grounded in the present moment. Mindfulness plays a crucial role in this process. By bringing awareness to your thoughts, emotions, and sensations, you begin to see patterns that might otherwise go unnoticed. For example, you might realize that certain situations trigger self-doubt, while others bring a sense of ease. With this awareness, you can start to challenge limiting beliefs and replace them with empowering ones. Over time, this practice strengthens your intuition and builds unshakable confidence. Imagine being able to approach decisions, not just big ones, but everyday choices, with a sense of calm and clarity. That's the power of trusting yourself. Let me share a personal story. A few years ago, I found myself at a crossroads in my career. I had two very different opportunities in front of me, and I couldn't decide which path to take. Every time I thought I'd made a choice, doubt would creep in and I'd change my mind. Eventually, I turned to meditation. Sitting quietly, I asked myself, what does my heart truly want? At first, the answer wasn't obvious, but as I continued to sit with the question, a subtle yet undeniable sense of clarity emerged. It didn't come in the form of a loud declaration. It was more like a gentle nudge. And that nudge guided me toward the decision that ultimately brought me the most fulfillment. This is the power of trusting yourself. It's not about dramatic revelations or instant certainty. It's about listening closely to the whispers of your heart and honoring what you find there. Over time, this practice strengthens your intuition and builds unshakable confidence. You begin to see that your inner guidance system is reliable, even if it doesn't always shout its answers. Sometimes it speaks in quiet tones, and your job is to listen carefully. As we wrap up this chapter, I invite you to reflect on one small step you can take today to nurture your self-trust. Maybe it's setting aside 5 minutes for meditation, journaling about a recent decision, or simply pausing to check in with yourself before reacting to a challenging situation. Remember, progress doesn't happen overnight. Be patient with yourself and celebrate the small victories along the way. Each step you take brings you closer to living authentically and confidently. Trusting yourself is a lifelong journey, not a destination. It's about continually showing up for yourself, even when it feels uncomfortable or uncertain. The more you practice, the stronger your connection to your inner wisdom becomes. And as this connection deepens, you'll find that you're capable of navigating life's twists and turns with grace and resilience. In the next chapter, we'll delve deeper into the foundations of Buddhism and how they can support your journey towards self-trust. Until then, take a moment to acknowledge the courage it takes to embark on this path. You've already taken the first step simply by being here, and that's worth celebrating. Chapter 2: The Foundations of Buddhism. Buddhism offers a profound framework for understanding ourselves, the world around us, and the interconnectedness of all things. At its heart, Buddhism is not a religion in the traditional sense, but rather a philosophy and a way of life, a set of teachings designed to help us navigate suffering and find lasting peace. These teachings are timeless, relevant even in our modern age, and they provide a strong foundation for cultivating self-trust and mindfulness. The cornerstone of Buddhism is the Four Noble Truths, which offer insight into the nature of human suffering and how we can transcend it. The first truth acknowledges that life involves suffering, physical pain, emotional distress, loss, and dissatisfaction. This might sound bleak at first glance, but recognizing this truth is actually empowering. It allows us to stop resisting what is and instead focus on how we respond to challenges. Suffering isn't something to be avoided or feared, it's an inherent part of existence, and understanding this helps us approach life with greater equanimity. The second noble truth identifies the cause of suffering as craving or attachment. We cling to pleasure, possessions, relationships, identities, and outcomes, believing they will bring us happiness. Yet, because everything in life is impermanent, our clinging inevitably leads to disappointment. For example, think about a time when you achieved a goal you had been striving toward for months or years. Perhaps it was landing your dream job, buying a home, or completing a major project. Initially, there may have been joy and satisfaction, but eventually the excitement faded and you found yourself wanting something else. This cycle of desire and dissatisfaction is what Buddhism calls dukkha, often translated as suffering or unsatisfactoriness. The third noble truth offers hope. Freedom from suffering is possible. By letting go of attachment and embracing impermanence, we can experience true liberation, a state known as nirvana. Nirvana doesn't mean escaping reality or floating off into some ethereal bliss. Instead, it's about finding peace within the present moment, regardless of external circumstances. Imagine being able to face life's ups and downs without losing your center, knowing that your worth isn't tied to achievements, possessions, or other people's opinions. That's the essence of nirvana, a deep sense of contentment that comes from within. The fourth noble truth outlines the path to ending suffering, the Eightfold Path. This path consists of 8 interconnected practices that guide us toward wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline. Let's explore each aspect briefly so you can see how they relate to trusting yourself and living mindfully. The first 2 steps on the Eightfold Path are right view and right intention. Right view encourages us to see reality clearly, free from delusions or distortions. It means understanding the impermanent, interdependent nature of all things and recognizing that our thoughts and actions shape our experiences. When you cultivate right view, you begin to trust your ability to perceive the world accurately, rather than through the lens of fear or conditioning. Right intention follows naturally. It involves setting wholesome intentions based on kindness, compassion, and non-harm. Together, these practices lay the groundwork for aligning your actions with your deepest values. Next come right speech, right action, and right livelihood, which focus on ethical conduct. Right speech reminds us to communicate honestly and kindly, avoiding gossip, harsh words, and idle chatter. Right action encourages behaviors that promote well-being and avoid harm, while right livelihood asks us to consider whether our work contributes positively to the world. These principles foster integrity and authenticity, helping you build trust not only in yourself, but also in your relationships with others. When you act with sincerity and care, you create a ripple effect of positivity that reinforces your confidence in your choices. The final 3 steps, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration, are essential for developing mental clarity and resilience. Right effort involves cultivating wholesome qualities like patience, generosity, and gratitude, while letting go of unhelpful habits like anger, jealousy, and negativity. It's about making consistent, intentional efforts to nurture your inner growth. Right mindfulness teaches us to stay fully present, observing our thoughts, emotions, and sensations without judgment. This practice strengthens your ability to witness your inner landscape objectively, which is crucial for trusting yourself. Finally, right concentration refers to deep states of meditation where the mind becomes calm, focused, and luminous. Through regular meditation, you train your mind to remain steady even in challenging situations, building the self-assurance needed to navigate life's uncertainties. Beyond the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path, another key concept in Buddhism is impermanence. Impermanence reminds us that nothing stays the same, not our bodies, our relationships, our careers, or even our thoughts and emotions. While this can feel unsettling at times, it's also incredibly liberating. When we accept impermanence, we stop clinging to things as they are and open ourselves to the flow of life. This acceptance fosters self-trust because it teaches us to adapt gracefully to change, trusting that we'll find our footing no matter what arises. Compassion is another pillar of Buddhist practice, both for ourselves and for others. Self-compassion is particularly important when it comes to trusting yourself. Too often we're quick to criticize ourselves for mistakes or perceived shortcomings, but Buddhism invites us to treat ourselves with the same kindness and understanding we'd offer a close friend. When you practice self-compassion, you create a safe space to explore your fears, doubts, and vulnerabilities without judgment. Over time, this builds resilience, self-trust, allowing you to move forward with courage and grace. Buddhist teachings also emphasize the importance of community, or sangha, in supporting our spiritual journey. While much of the work involves looking inward, having a supportive network of like-minded individuals can make a significant difference. Whether it's attending meditation groups, participating in retreats, or simply sharing your experiences with friends who share your values, connecting with others reinforces your commitment to growth and provides encouragement during difficult times. One of the most beautiful aspects of Buddhism is its inclusivity. It doesn't require blind faith or adherence to dogma. Instead, it invites you to test its teachings in your own life and see what resonates. If something feels true and helpful, embrace it. If not, let it go. This openness reflects the very essence of self-trust, relying on your own experience and intuition to guide you. As we delve deeper into these teachings throughout this video, I encourage you to reflect on how they might apply to your own life. Are there areas where you're clinging too tightly to certain outcomes? How might embracing impermanence shift your perspective? What small changes could you make today to live more authentically and compassionately? These questions aren't meant to overwhelm you. They're invitations to explore and grow at your own pace. In the next chapter, we'll dive into the transformative power of meditation and how it serves as a gateway to deeper self-awareness and trust. Until then, take a moment to appreciate the richness of these ancient teachings and their potential to illuminate your path. Trust that every step you take brings you closer to discovering the wisdom already within you. Chapter 3: The Power of Meditation. Meditation is often described as the heart of Buddhist practice, and for good reason. It's a powerful tool that allows us to quiet the noise of our minds, connect with our inner selves, and cultivate a sense of clarity and calm. Yet, meditation isn't just about sitting cross-legged in silence. It's a practice that can transform how we relate to ourselves, others, and the world around us. When approached with patience and consistency, it becomes a cornerstone for building self-trust, resilience, and mindfulness. At its core, meditation is about training the mind. Think of it like going to the gym, but instead of strengthening your muscles, you're strengthening your awareness. Just as physical exercise improves your body's endurance and flexibility, meditation enhances your mental focus, emotional regulation, and capacity for presence. Over time, this practice helps you develop a more intimate relationship with your thoughts, emotions, and sensations, allowing you to observe them without being overwhelmed by them. This ability to witness your inner landscape objectively is key to trusting yourself because it enables you to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. There are many forms of meditation, but one of the simplest and most accessible is mindfulness meditation. In mindfulness meditation, the primary focus is on observing the present moment, whether that's your breath, bodily sensations, sounds, or even the flow of thoughts. The goal isn't to stop thinking altogether. That's an impossible task. Instead, it's about noticing when your attention drifts away from the present moment and gently bringing it back. Each time you return your focus, you're strengthening your ability to stay grounded, which translates into greater self-awareness and confidence in daily life. Let's explore why meditation is such a potent practice for fostering self-trust. One of the biggest obstacles to trusting ourselves is the constant chatter of our minds, the endless stream of worries, judgments, and distractions that pull us out of the present moment. When we're caught up in this mental noise, it's easy to lose touch with our intuition and authenticity. Meditation creates space between you and your thoughts, helping you recognize that you are not your thoughts. You are the observer, the witnessing consciousness behind them. This realization alone can be incredibly empowering because it reminds you that you have the power to choose how you engage with your internal dialogue. For example, imagine you're facing a challenging decision at work or in your personal life. Without a regular meditation practice, you might feel overwhelmed by conflicting thoughts and emotions, unsure of what to do next. But if you've trained your mind through meditation, you'll be better equipped to step back, observe the situation clearly, and listen to your inner guidance. Rather than reacting out of fear or stress, you'll be able to approach the decision from a place of calm and wisdom. Another benefit of meditation is its impact on emotional regulation. Life is full of ups and downs, and it's natural to experience a wide range of emotions. However, when we're unprepared to handle intense feelings like anger, sadness, or anxiety, they can hijack our behavior and cloud our judgment. Meditation teaches us to sit with discomfort, acknowledging our emotions without immediately trying to fix or suppress them. This practice builds emotional resilience and helps us trust that we can navigate difficult experiences without losing ourselves in the process. Now let's talk about how to begin a meditation practice. If you're new to meditation, start small. Even 5 minutes a day can make a difference. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Sit comfortably, either on a chair, cushion, or floor, and close your eyes if that feels right for you. Focus on your breath, feeling the sensation of air entering and leaving your nostrils. Notice the rise and fall of your abdomen or chest. When your mind inevitably wanders, and it will, don't judge yourself. Simply acknowledge the distraction and bring your attention back to your breath. Over time, you can gradually increase the duration of your sessions as you become more comfortable with the practice. If focusing on your breath feels too abstract, try using a guided meditation app or recording to help you stay centered. Alternatively, you can use a mantra, a word or phrase repeated silently to anchor your attention. Peace, calm, or trust are excellent choices that align with the themes we're exploring today. Whatever method you choose, remember that there's no perfect way to meditate. The act of showing up consistently is far more important than achieving any particular state of mind. It's also worth noting that meditation isn't always easy. Some days you might feel restless or frustrated, struggling to quiet your mind. Other days, you might experience profound stillness and insight. Both experiences are valuable because they teach you patience and humility. On tough days, remind yourself that meditation is a practice, not a performance. Every session contributes to your growth, even if it doesn't feel productive in the moment. As your meditation practice deepens, you may notice subtle shifts in your daily life. You might find yourself reacting less impulsively to stressful situations, feeling more grounded in your interactions with others, or experiencing moments of unexpected joy and gratitude. These changes occur because meditation rewires your brain over time, enhancing areas associated with attention, empathy, and emotional regulation while reducing activity in regions linked to fear and reactivity. Scientific studies have shown that regular meditation can lower cortisol levels, improve sleep quality, boost immune function, and even slow the aging process. While these benefits are impressive, the true magic of meditation lies in its ability to reconnect you with your authentic self. One of the most profound insights I've gained through my own meditation practice is the understanding that self-trust arises naturally when we create space for silence and stillness. In our fast-paced world, we're conditioned to fill every gap with noise, music, podcasts, social media, conversations. But in those rare moments of quiet, we give ourselves permission to simply be. And in that beingness, we discover a reservoir of strength and wisdom that's always been there, waiting for us to tap into it. Meditation also fosters a sense of interconnectedness, a recognition that we're part of something much larger than ourselves. This perspective can be deeply comforting, especially during times of uncertainty or struggle. When you sit in meditation and tune into the rhythm of your breath, you're reminded that you share this experience with countless beings across the planet. Your challenges, fears, and hopes are not unique, they're universal. This realization cultivates compassion not only for yourself but also for others, reinforcing the idea that we're all in this together. To illustrate the transformative power of meditation, let me share another personal story. A few years ago, I went through a particularly challenging period marked by burnout and self-doubt. I felt disconnected from my purpose and unsure of which direction to take. During that time, I committed to meditating every morning, even when it felt like the last thing I wanted to do. At first, my sessions were filled with frustration and resistance. My mind raced with anxious thoughts, and sitting still felt unbearable, but slowly, almost imperceptibly, things began to shift. I started noticing tiny moments of clarity amidst the chaos, glimmers of insight that pointed me toward what truly mattered. Eventually, these glimmers coalesced into a clear path forward, one that aligned with my values and passions. Looking back, I realized that meditation didn't solve my problems overnight, but it gave me the tools to face them with courage and grace. In addition to mindfulness meditation, there are other types of meditation worth exploring as you deepen your practice. Loving kindness meditation, for instance, involves cultivating feelings of love, kindness, and compassion toward yourself and others. This practice can soften feelings of isolation and mistrust, replacing them with warmth and connection. Visualization meditation encourages you to imagine positive outcomes or scenarios, harnessing the power of intention to manifest change in your life. Body scan meditation invites you to bring awareness to different parts of your body, releasing tension and promoting relaxation. Experimenting with various techniques allows you to find what resonates most with you and keeps your practice fresh and engaging. As we conclude this chapter, I invite you to reflect on how meditation might support your journey towards self-trust. Perhaps you already have a practice and can think of ways to deepen it. Or maybe you're just beginning and need encouragement to take that first step. Either way, trust that the effort you put into meditation will ripple outward, enriching every aspect of your life. In the next chapter, we'll explore mindfulness in everyday life, how to bring the lessons of meditation off the cushion and into your daily activities. Until then, remember that meditation is a gift you give yourself, a sacred pause in the midst of life's busyness. Trust that each moment you spend connecting with your breath is a step toward greater peace, clarity, and self-assurance. Chapter 4. Mindfulness in Everyday Life. Mindfulness is often described as the art of being fully present, and it's one of the most accessible tools we have for cultivating self-trust, clarity, and peace. While meditation provides a dedicated space to practice mindfulness, the true magic happens when we bring this awareness into our everyday lives. Mindfulness isn't something you do only during formal practice. It's a way of living, a lens through which you can experience each moment with greater intention and appreciation. By integrating mindfulness into your daily routines, you create opportunities to deepen your connection with yourself and the world around you. At its essence, mindfulness means paying attention on purpose, without judgment, to what's happening right now. This might sound simple, but in practice, it's incredibly profound. Most of us spend much of our time caught up in thoughts about the past or future, replaying old conversations, worrying about tomorrow, or planning endlessly. When we're not fully present, we miss out on the richness of life unfolding before us. We also lose touch with our inner wisdom because we're too distracted to notice the subtle cues our mind and body are sending us. Mindfulness invites us to step out of autopilot mode and engage consciously with the here and now. Let's start by exploring why mindfulness matters so much when it comes to trusting yourself. One of the biggest barriers to self-trust is reactivity. We tend to respond to situations impulsively, driven by emotions like fear, anger, or frustration. These reactions often stem from unconscious patterns that have been ingrained over years of conditioning. Mindfulness creates a buffer between stimulus and response, giving you the space to pause and choose how you want to act. Instead of reacting automatically, you can respond thoughtfully, guided by your values and intuition. Over time, this builds confidence in your ability to handle challenges with grace and resilience. For example, imagine you're stuck in traffic and running late for an important meeting. Without mindfulness, you might feel a surge of irritation, leading to impatience, honking at other drivers, or even snapping at someone later. But if you bring mindfulness to the situation, you can acknowledge your frustration without letting it dictate your behavior. You might take a few deep breaths, reminding yourself that getting upset won't change the traffic. By staying grounded, you not only preserve your own peace of mind, but also set a positive tone for the rest of your day. This ability to stay centered in stressful moments is a direct result of practicing mindfulness regularly. Now, let's talk about how to incorporate mindfulness into your daily life. The beauty of mindfulness is that it doesn't require any special equipment or extra time. It's about shifting your awareness to whatever you're already doing. Here are some practical ways to weave mindfulness into your routine. First, consider your morning routine. Many of us begin our days in a rush, scrambling to check emails, scroll through social media, or prepare for the day ahead. Instead, try starting with a few minutes of mindful breathing. As soon as you wake up, take a moment to lie still and notice your breath. Feel the sensation of air moving in and out of your body. Allow yourself to arrive fully in the present moment before jumping into the demands of the day. If you drink coffee or tea, savor the aroma, warmth, and taste of each sip. Notice the colors, textures, and sensations involved in this simple act. By infusing mindfulness into your mornings, you set a calm and intentional tone for the hours ahead. Next, think about how you move throughout your day. Whether you're walking to work, commuting, or simply moving from one room to another, you can turn these transitions into opportunities for mindfulness. Walking meditation is a wonderful practice that involves focusing on the physical sensations of each step, the lifting of your foot, the shifting of weight, the placing of your heel on the ground. If you're indoors, pay attention to the texture of the floor beneath your feet or the rhythm of your movement. Even mundane tasks like brushing your teeth, washing dishes, or folding laundry can become mindful activities. Instead of rushing through them, slow down and notice the details. How does the toothbrush feel against your gums? What sounds do the dishes make as they clink together? Bringing awareness to these small moments transforms them into acts of presence and gratitude. Mealtime is another powerful opportunity to practice mindfulness. In our fast-paced culture, many of us eat while multitasking, scrolling through our phones, watching TV, or working at our desks. This habit disconnects us from the nourishment and pleasure of eating. To practice mindful eating, start by eliminating distractions. Sit down at a table, turn off your devices, and focus solely on your meal. Before you begin, take a moment to appreciate the colors, smells, and textures of the food in front of you. As you eat, choose slowly and deliberately, noticing the flavors and sensations in your mouth. Pay attention to how your body feels as you consume each bite. Are you satisfied? Do you feel full? By eating mindfully, you honor your body's needs and cultivate a healthier relationship with food. Communication is another area where mindfulness can make a significant impact. So often we listen to others, or even ourselves, with half our attention, preoccupied with formulating responses or judging what's being said. Mindful listening involves giving your full presence to the person speaking, whether it's a friend, family member, colleague, or even your own inner voice. Make eye contact, nod occasionally to show you're engaged, and resist the urge to interrupt. If you find your mind wandering, gently bring it back to the conversation. Not only does this strengthen your relationships, but it also helps you tune into your own thoughts and feelings more clearly. Even moments of discomfort or difficulty can be approached with mindfulness. For instance, if you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed, instead of pushing those emotions away, invite them in for closer inspection. Where do you feel the tension in your body? Is it tightness in your chest, a knot in your stomach, or a heaviness in your shoulders? Acknowledge these sensations without trying to fix or suppress them. Simply observe them with curiosity and kindness. This practice teaches you to face challenges head-on, trusting that you have the capacity to navigate them. One of the most transformative aspects of mindfulness is its ability to shift your perspective on ordinary experiences. When you bring awareness to the present moment, you begin to see the extraordinary in the seemingly mundane. A sunset becomes a breathtaking display of color and light. The sound of rain tapping against your window becomes a soothing melody. Even waiting in line at the grocery store can become an opportunity to notice the intricate details of your surroundings, the faces of strangers, the hum of fluorescent lights, the feel of your hands resting on the cart. Over time, this heightened awareness fosters a sense of wonder and appreciation for life's simple joys. Another key component of mindfulness is non-judgmental awareness. Often we criticize ourselves harshly for perceived mistakes or shortcomings. We label certain thoughts or emotions as bad and push them away, creating resistance and inner conflict. Mindfulness encourages us to adopt a gentler stance toward ourselves and our experiences. Instead of labeling something as good or bad, right or wrong, simply observe it as it is. For example, if you notice feelings of jealousy arise during a conversation, rather than berating yourself, say silently, "Ah, there's jealousy." Then let it pass without attaching to it. This practice cultivates self-compassion and reinforces the idea that all emotions are valid. They're just temporary states that come and go.
To illustrate the power of mindfulness in action, let me share a story. A few years ago, I was struggling with chronic stress due to an overwhelming workload, and no matter how hard I tried to manage my responsibilities, I felt like I was constantly behind, drowning in a sea of tasks and deadlines. One evening, after a particularly grueling day, I decided to experiment with mindfulness during a routine activity, washing dishes. At first, I resisted the idea, thinking it was a waste of time. But as I stood at the sink, I focused on the warmth of the water, the scent of the soap, and the smoothness of the plates in my hands. Slowly, my racing thoughts began to settle, replaced by a sense of calm and clarity. That brief moment of presence gave me the energy and perspective I needed to tackle the rest of my evening. Since then, I've made it a point to approach everyday tasks with mindfulness, knowing that even the smallest acts can be transformative. As you continue to explore mindfulness, remember that consistency is key. Like any skill, it takes time and repetition to develop. Some days will feel easier than others, and that's okay. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Every time you bring your attention back to the present moment, you're strengthening your ability to trust yourself and live authentically. In the next chapter, we'll delve into the importance of embracing imperfection and how letting go of unrealistic expectations can deepen your self-trust. Until then, I encourage you to experiment with mindfulness in your own life. Find small, manageable ways to bring awareness to your daily activities and notice how they enrich your experience. Trust that each mindful moment you create is a step toward greater peace, clarity, and fulfillment. Chapter 5. Embracing imperfection. Embracing imperfection is one of the most liberating and transformative aspects of trusting yourself. It's a practice that challenges our deeply ingrained tendencies toward perfectionism, self-criticism, and comparison. In a world that often celebrates achievement, productivity, and flawlessness, learning to accept and even celebrate our imperfections can feel counterintuitive. Yet it's precisely this acceptance that allows us to live authentically, connect with others more deeply, and cultivate a profound sense of self-trust. At its heart, imperfection is an inherent part of being human. No matter how hard we try, none of us will ever be flawless. We all make mistakes, experience setbacks, and encounter moments of doubt. These experiences are not signs of failure, they're reminders of our shared humanity. Buddhism teaches us that suffering arises when we resist reality, including the messy, imperfect aspects of ourselves. By embracing imperfection, we align ourselves with the natural flow of life, freeing ourselves from the exhausting pursuit of unattainable standards. One of the biggest obstacles to embracing imperfection is the voice of the inner critic, the relentless narrator in our minds that points out every flaw, judges every misstep, and demands constant improvement. This voice might tell you that you're not smart enough, talented enough, or worthy enough. It might compare you unfavorably to others, leaving you feeling inadequate or insecure. While the inner critic may believe it's protecting you by pushing you to excel, its harshness often does more harm than good. Over time, it erodes your confidence and makes it harder to trust yourself because you're constantly second-guessing your abilities. The antidote to the inner critic is self-compassion, a practice rooted in kindness, understanding, and acceptance. Self-compassion doesn't mean excusing harmful behaviors or settling for mediocrity. Instead, it means treating yourself with the same care and empathy you'd offer a dear friend who's struggling. When you stumble or fall short, rather than berating yourself, you acknowledge your pain and remind yourself that everyone makes mistakes. This shift in perspective creates a safe space for vulnerability, growth, and self-discovery. Let's explore why embracing imperfection is so crucial for building self-trust. Trusting yourself requires believing that you're capable of navigating life's challenges, even when things don't go according to plan. If you're constantly striving for perfection, you set yourself up for disappointment and self-doubt. Every setback feels like evidence that you're not good enough, reinforcing the belief that you can't rely on yourself. On the other hand, when you embrace imperfection, you recognize that mistakes are opportunities to learn and grow. You begin to see them not as failures, but as stepping stones on your journey toward wisdom and resilience. For example, imagine you're working on a creative project, a painting, a piece of writing, or a new business idea. If you approach it with a perfectionist mindset, you might obsess over every detail, fearing that anything less than flawless execution will lead to failure. This pressure can stifle your creativity and prevent you from taking risks. But if you adopt an attitude of imperfection, you give yourself permission to experiment, play, and explore without judgment. You understand that the process itself is valuable, regardless of the outcome. This freedom allows you to trust your instincts and express yourself authentically. Another reason embracing imperfection matters is that it fosters authenticity. When we hide behind masks of perfection, we disconnect from our true selves and alienate those around us. People are drawn to genuine connections, not polished facades,
By owning your imperfections, you send a powerful message to yourself and others. I am enough exactly as I am. This authenticity builds trust, not just in yourself, but also in your relationships. When you show up fully, warts and all, you create space for others to do the same, deepening your bonds and fostering mutual understanding. Now, let's talk about practical ways to embrace imperfection in your daily life. One of the simplest yet most impactful practices is reframing your relationship with mistakes. Instead of viewing errors as failures, see them as teachers. Each mistake contains valuable lessons about what works and what doesn't. For instance, if you miss a deadline at work, reflect on what led to the oversight. Was it poor planning, overcommitment, lack of resources? Use this insight to adjust your approach moving forward. By focusing on growth rather than blame, you transform setbacks into opportunities for improvement. Journaling is another powerful tool for embracing imperfection. Writing provides a safe outlet for processing emotions, exploring thoughts, and gaining clarity. Try dedicating a few minutes each day to jotting down your reflections. Be honest with yourself. Write about your fears, frustrations, and triumphs. Don't worry about grammar, spelling, or structure. The goal is to express yourself freely. Over time, you'll notice patterns and insights that help you better understand your strengths and weaknesses. Journaling also serves as a reminder that imperfection is beautiful. It's what makes your voice unique. Mindfulness plays a critical role in embracing imperfection as well. As we discussed in earlier chapters, mindfulness involves observing your thoughts, emotions, and sensations without judgment. When you bring mindful awareness to moments of perceived inadequacy, you can catch yourself before spiraling into self-criticism. For example, if you notice feelings of shame or embarrassment arise after making a mistake, pause and breathe. Acknowledge the emotion without attaching to it. Remind yourself that everyone struggles sometimes, and this moment does not define your worth. With practice, mindfulness helps you respond to imperfection with compassion rather than criticism. Self-compassion exercises are another effective way to soften your relationship with imperfection. One such exercise is the self-compassion break, developed by psychologist Dr. Kristin Neff. The next time you're feeling frustrated or disappointed with yourself, take a moment to pause. Place a hand over your heart and silently repeat these phrases. This is a moment of suffering. Suffering is part of life. May I be kind to myself in this moment. These words affirm your humanity and nurture a sense of connection to others who are experiencing similar struggles. Over time, this practice rewires your brain to default to kindness rather than criticism. Storytelling can also be a powerful vehicle for embracing imperfection. Think about the stories you tell yourself about your identity and capabilities. Are they filled with rigid expectations and limiting beliefs? Or do they leave room for growth and possibility? Challenge yourself to rewrite your narrative. Instead of saying, "I'm terrible at public speaking," reframe it as, "Public speaking is challenging for me right now, but I'm learning and improving." This subtle shift moves you away from fixed notions of ability and toward a growth-oriented mindset. To illustrate the power of embracing imperfection, let me share a personal story. A few years ago, I decided to take up pottery as a hobby. I had always admired handmade ceramics and thought it would be a relaxing, creative outlet. What I didn't anticipate was how difficult it would be. My first attempts were disastrous. Lopsided bowls, cracked mugs, and pieces that collapsed entirely. At first I felt discouraged and questioned whether I should continue, but then I realized something important. The imperfections in my work weren't flaws, they were expressions of my individuality. Each uneven edge, asymmetrical curve, and unexpected texture told a story of effort, experimentation, and progress. Once I embraced these quirks, my enjoyment of the process skyrocketed. Now, whenever I look at one of my creations, I'm reminded of the beauty in imperfection and the value of trusting the journey. Imperfection isn't limited to tangible skills or projects. It extends to our emotional landscapes as well. Many of us strive to maintain a facade of happiness, success, or competence, hiding our struggles from the world, but suppressing difficult emotions only amplifies their intensity. By allowing yourself to feel sadness, anger, fear, or confusion without judgment, you honor your full range of human experience. This emotional honesty strengthens your self-trust because it affirms that you're capable of holding space for whatever arises, no matter how uncomfortable. Finally, let's address the role of gratitude in embracing imperfection. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's lacking to what's abundant in your life. Instead of fixating on your shortcomings, take time to appreciate your strength, talents, and accomplishments. Celebrate the small victories, the courage it took to speak up in a meeting, the kindness you showed to a stranger, the patience you demonstrated during a tough conversation. Gratitude reminds you that you're doing the best you can with the tools you have, and that's something worth honoring. As we conclude this chapter, I invite you to reflect on where you might be holding on to unrealistic expectations of yourself. Are there areas of your life where you could benefit from loosening the reins of perfectionism? How might embracing imperfection open doors to greater creativity, authenticity, and self-trust? Remember, imperfection is not something to overcome, it's something to embrace. It's the cracks in the surface that let the light shine through. In the next chapter, we'll explore the transformative power of gratitude and how cultivating appreciation can deepen your trust in yourself and the unfolding of life. Until then, carry this awareness of imperfection with you. Trust that you are whole and worthy exactly as you are. Chapter 6. Cultivating gratitude. Gratitude is one of the most powerful practices we can incorporate into our lives to foster self-trust, resilience, and a deeper connection with ourselves and the world around us. When we cultivate gratitude, we shift our focus from what's lacking to what's abundant, creating a sense of contentment and fulfillment that radiates outward into every aspect of our existence. It's not just about saying thank you or acknowledging the good things in life. It's about developing a mindset of appreciation that transforms how we perceive challenges, relationships, and even our own imperfections. At its core, gratitude is an active practice, a conscious choice to notice and appreciate the blessings, big and small, that surround us each day. This doesn't mean ignoring difficulties or pretending everything is perfect. Life will always have its ups and downs, and gratitude isn't about denying reality. Instead, it's about finding moments of light even in the darkest times. By doing so, we build emotional resilience and strengthen our ability to trust that we can navigate whatever comes our way. One of the reasons gratitude is so transformative is that it rewires our brains. Scientific studies have shown that practicing gratitude activates areas of the brain associated with positive emotions, reduces stress, and increases feelings of well-being. When we regularly acknowledge the good in our lives, we train our minds to look for more of it. This creates a virtuous cycle. The more we notice things to be grateful for, the more we find them, and the more our perspective shifts toward optimism and trust in life's unfolding. Let's explore why gratitude is such a vital component of trusting yourself. Self-trust requires believing that you're capable of handling life's challenges and finding meaning in your experiences, even when things don't go as planned. Gratitude helps us reframe setbacks as opportunities for growth, reminding us that every situation carries lessons and gifts, even if they're not immediately apparent. For example, losing a job might feel devastating at first, but over time, you may realize it opened doors to new possibilities or helped you rediscover your passions. By cultivating gratitude, you learn to trust that every experience, no matter how difficult, contributes to your personal evolution. Gratitude also deepens our connection to others and reinforces the idea that we're all interconnected. When we express appreciation for the people in our lives, their kindness, support, and presence, we strengthen those relationships and create a sense of belonging. This sense of connection fosters trust, not only in others, but also in ourselves. Knowing that we're part of something larger than ourselves reminds us that we don't have to face life's challenges alone. We can lean on our communities, draw strength from shared experiences, and trust that we'll continue to receive love and support when we need it most. Now let's talk about practical ways to cultivate gratitude in your daily life. One of the simplest and most effective practices is keeping a gratitude journal. Each day, take a few minutes to write down 3 to 5 things you're grateful for. They can be as grand as landing a dream opportunity or as small as enjoying a delicious cup of coffee. The key is to be specific and heartfelt. Instead of writing, "I'm grateful for my family," try, "I'm grateful for the laughter I shared with my sibling today." Specificity amplifies the impact of gratitude because it anchors your awareness in concrete details, making the experience feel more vivid and real. Another powerful exercise is the gratitude pause. Throughout your day, take a moment to stop and reflect on something you're thankful for right then and there. It could be the warmth of the sun on your skin, the sound of birds chirping, or the fact that you have access to clean water. These brief pauses interrupt the busyness of life and bring you back to the present moment where gratitude naturally resides. Over time, this practice trains your mind to seek out positivity, even during stressful or overwhelming periods. Mindfulness and gratitude go hand in hand. When you bring mindful awareness to your surroundings, you become more attuned to the beauty and wonder of everyday life. For instance, while eating a meal, notice the colors, textures, and flavors of your food. Appreciate the effort that went into preparing it, whether it was your own or someone else's. Similarly, when walking outdoors, pay attention to the sights, sounds, and smells around you. Feel the breeze on your face, listen to the rustling leaves, and marvel at the intricate patterns of nature. These moments of mindful appreciation deepen your sense of gratitude and remind you of the abundance that exists in the present moment. Gratitude letters are another meaningful way to express appreciation and strengthen your relationships. Think of someone who has made a positive impact on your life, whether recently or in the past, and write them a letter expressing your thanks. Be specific about what they did and how it affected you. You don't necessarily have to send the letter, though doing so can be incredibly rewarding, but the act of writing it helps solidify your feelings of gratitude and reminds you of the goodness in your life. If you do choose to share the letter, it can create a ripple effect of positivity, inspiring the recipient to reflect on their own blessings. It's important to note that gratitude isn't always easy, especially during tough times. When you're facing hardship, loss, or uncertainty, it can feel impossible to find anything to be thankful for. But this is exactly when gratitude becomes most valuable. Even in the midst of pain, there are often glimmers of hope, moments of kindness, acts of courage, or simple pleasures that sustain us. Acknowledging these tiny sparks of light doesn't diminish the difficulty of the situation. Rather, it gives us the strength to keep moving forward. Trust that gratitude can coexist with grief, anger, or frustration. It's not about suppressing negative emotions, but balancing them with reminders of what's still good in your life. To illustrate the transformative power of gratitude, let me share a story. A few years ago, I went through a particularly challenging period marked by health issues and financial strain. At first, I felt consumed by worry and despair, unable to see beyond my problems. Then, a friend suggested I start a gratitude journal. Skeptical but desperate for relief, I decided to give it a try. Every night before bed, I wrote down 3 things I was grateful for, no matter how insignificant they seemed. Some days, it was as simple as being grateful for a warm shower or a phone call from a loved one. Other days, it was deeper reflections on the lessons I was learning or the resilience I was discovering within myself. Slowly but surely, this practice began to shift my perspective. While my circumstances hadn't changed overnight, my attitude had. I started noticing more opportunities, feeling more hopeful, and trusting that I would find my way through the darkness. Gratitude became my anchor, grounding me in moments of joy and reminding me of life's inherent goodness. Gratitude also has a profound impact on how we relate to ourselves. Often we're quick to criticize our perceived flaws and shortcomings, focusing on what we lack rather than what we've achieved. Practicing self-gratitude flips this narrative, encouraging us to celebrate our strengths, talents, and efforts. Take a moment to reflect on the qualities you admire in yourself, your creativity, resilience, compassion, or humor. Acknowledge the hard work you've put into personal growth, even if progress feels slow. By appreciating yourself, you reinforce the belief that you're worthy of love and trust, regardless of external achievements or validation. Finally, let's talk about the role of ritual in cultivating gratitude. Rituals provide structure and intentionality, helping us integrate gratitude into our daily lives in meaningful ways. For example, you might begin each morning by listing 3 things you're grateful for, setting a positive tone for the day ahead. Or you could end your evening with a gratitude reflection, reviewing the highlights of your day and expressing thanks for them. Another beautiful ritual is sharing gratitude with others during meals or gatherings. Going around the table and having everyone share one thing they're thankful for creates a sense of connection and amplifies collective joy. These rituals don't need to be elaborate. They simply serve as reminders to pause and appreciate the abundance in your life. As we wrap up this chapter, I invite you to consider how gratitude might enrich your journey towards self-trust. Are there moments in your day where you could pause to acknowledge the good? How might shifting your focus from scarcity to abundance change your perspective on challenges and opportunities? Remember, gratitude is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Each expression of thanks, no matter how small, strengthens your capacity to trust yourself and embrace life with open arms. In the next chapter, we'll explore the process of letting go of fear and how releasing attachments to outcomes can deepen your self-trust and peace of mind. Until then, carry this spirit of gratitude with you. Trust that there is always something to be thankful for, even in the smallest details of your day. Chapter 7. Letting go of fear. Fear is one of the most universal human experiences, yet it's also one of the most misunderstood. It shapes our thoughts, influences our decisions, and often holds us back from living fully and authentically. But fear doesn't have to control us. By learning to let go of fear, whether it's fear of failure, rejection, uncertainty, or change, we can reclaim our power, deepen our self-trust, and step into a life aligned with our truest desires. This chapter will explore why fear arises, how it impacts us, and practical steps we can take to release its grip on our minds and hearts. At its core, fear is a survival mechanism, an evolutionary response designed to protect us from harm. When faced with danger, our bodies activate the fight or flight response, flooding us with adrenaline and cortisol to prepare for action. This reaction was incredibly useful for early humans navigating threats like predators or natural disasters. However, in modern life, fear often becomes disproportionate to the actual risks we face. Instead of protecting us, it paralyzes us, keeping us stuck in patterns of avoidance, self-doubt, and resistance. The key to overcoming fear lies in understanding its roots and learning to respond to it with awareness and compassion. One of the primary ways fear manifests is through attachment to outcomes, identities, and expectations. We cling to certain ideas about how our lives should unfold, believing that achieving specific goals or maintaining particular roles will bring us happiness and security. When reality deviates from these plans, fear arises, whispering that we're not enough, that we've failed, or that disaster awaits. For example, imagine someone who dreams of starting their own business but hesitates because they're afraid of financial instability or judgment from others. Their attachment to the idea of success or fear of failure prevents them from taking the leap, even though the journey itself might hold immense value. Buddhism teaches us that letting go of attachment is essential for finding peace. By releasing our need to control every detail, we open ourselves to the flow of life and trust that we'll find our way regardless of the outcome. Another common source of fear is the unknown. Human beings crave certainty. We want to know what tomorrow will bring, how others perceive us, and whether we're making the right choices. Yet, life is inherently unpredictable, and clinging to the illusion of control only amplifies our anxiety. Mindfulness offers a powerful antidote to this fear by anchoring us in the present moment. When we focus on what's happening right now, rather than worrying about what might happen, we create space to breathe, reflect, and act with clarity. Over time, this practice helps us develop a sense of trust in the unfolding of life, knowing that each moment carries its own wisdom and opportunities. Let's delve deeper into how fear affects our ability to trust ourselves. Self-trust requires believing that we're capable of handling whatever comes our way, even when things feel uncertain or overwhelming. Fear undermines this belief by convincing us that we're inadequate, unprepared, or unworthy. It whispers insidious messages like "you'll never succeed," or "what if you embarrass yourself?" These thoughts trigger a cascade of doubt, causing us to second-guess our instincts and hesitate at critical moments. By addressing fear directly, we dismantle these barriers and reconnect with our inner strength and resilience. So, how do we begin to let go of fear? The first step is acknowledging its presence without judgment. Often we try to suppress or ignore fear, hoping it will disappear on its own, but denial only gives fear more power. Instead, invite it in for closer inspection. Ask yourself, what am I truly afraid of? Is it rejection, loss, failure, or something else entirely? Naming your fear takes away some of its sting, allowing you to see it as a temporary emotion rather than an immutable truth. Once you've identified the root cause, you can begin to challenge its validity. For instance, if you're afraid of public speaking, ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? Chances are the imagined catastrophe isn't as dire as it seems. By confronting fear head-on, you rob it of its ability to dictate your actions. Visualization is another effective tool for releasing fear. Close your eyes and picture yourself facing the situation that scares you. Imagine moving through it with confidence and ease, trusting that you have the resources to handle whatever arises. Visualization primes your mind for success, replacing fear-based narratives with empowering ones. Athletes, performers, and entrepreneurs often use this technique to build mental resilience before high-stakes events. You can apply it to any area of your life where fear feels obstructive. Breathing exercises are also invaluable for calming the nervous system and creating distance between you and your fears. When fear strikes, your body enters fight or flight mode, making rational thinking difficult. Deep, intentional breathing counters this physiological response, signaling to your brain that you're safe. Try this simple exercise. Inhale slowly through your nose for a count of 4, hold your breath for another 4 counts, and exhale gently through your mouth for 6 counts. Repeat this cycle several times, focusing on the sensation of your breath filling and leaving your lungs. As your body relaxes, your mind follows suit, giving you the clarity needed to address fear constructively. Mindfulness meditation plays a crucial role in letting go of fear as well. During meditation, you observe your thoughts and emotions without attaching to them, recognizing that they come and go like clouds passing across the sky. When fear arises during meditation, resist the urge to push it away or dwell on it. Simply label it, "This is fear," and return your attention to your breath or chosen point of focus. Over time, this practice weakens fear's hold on your psyche, teaching you to relate to it with curiosity rather than resistance. Meditation also strengthens your ability to stay grounded in the present moment, reducing the tendency to ruminate on worst-case scenarios. Another powerful approach to releasing fear is reframing it as excitement. Fear and excitement share similar physiological markers: rapid heartbeat, heightened alertness, and increased energy. The difference lies in how we interpret these sensations. If you tell yourself, "I'm terrified," you reinforce a negative association. But if you reframe the experience as, I'm excited, you transform fear into fuel for action. For example, instead of dreading a job interview, remind yourself that nervous energy is a sign you care deeply about the opportunity. This shift in perspective empowers you to move forward with courage and enthusiasm. Gratitude and compassion are additional allies in the battle against fear. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's lacking to what's abundant, reminding you of your strengths, resources, and support systems. Compassion softens the harsh edges of fear, replacing self-criticism with kindness and understanding. For instance, if you're afraid of making a mistake at work, acknowledge your desire to excel while offering yourself reassurance. It's okay to be imperfect. Everyone makes mistakes, and I'm learning. These practices foster a sense of safety and belonging, reinforcing your belief that you're worthy of love and trust, regardless of external outcomes. To illustrate the transformative power of letting go of fear, let me share a personal story. A few years ago, I was offered the chance to lead a major project at work, a role I had dreamed of for years. Despite my excitement, fear quickly set in. What if I wasn't qualified? What if I disappointed my team? What if I failed spectacularly? The weight of these questions paralyzed me, making it hard to focus or sleep. Recognizing that fear was holding me back, I decided to confront it directly. I journaled about my anxieties, visualized myself succeeding, and practiced deep breathing whenever panic bubbled up. Slowly but surely, I began to loosen fear's grip. On the day of the project launch, I still felt nervous, but beneath the nerves was a quiet confidence, a trust that I could navigate whatever challenges arose. Looking back, I realized that letting go of fear didn't eliminate all obstacles, but it gave me the courage to embrace them with grace and determination. Fear also serves as a teacher, guiding us toward growth and self-discovery. Often the things we fear most are the very things we need to confront in order to evolve. Public speaking, intimacy, vulnerability, and risk-taking are common examples. While avoiding these areas may provide short-term comfort, it ultimately limits our potential. By leaning into fear, we expand our capacity for resilience, creativity, and connection. Each time we face a fear, no matter how small, we prove to ourselves that we're stronger than we thought. This cumulative evidence builds unshakable self-trust, enabling us to tackle bigger challenges with increasing confidence. Finally, community plays a vital role in helping us let go of fear. Sharing our struggles with trusted friends, mentors, or support groups reminds us that we're not alone. Hearing stories of others who have overcome similar fears inspires hope and provides practical strategies for navigating our own. Sometimes simply verbalizing our fears diminishes their power, allowing us to see them more objectively. Surround yourself with people who uplift and encourage you, and don't hesitate to seek professional guidance if fear feels overwhelming or persistent. As we conclude this chapter, I invite you to reflect on the fears that may be holding you back. Are there situations you've been avoiding out of fear? How might letting go of those fears open new doors for growth and fulfillment? Remember, fear is not your enemy. It's a signal pointing you toward areas where you have the potential to grow. Trust that you have the tools and inner resources to face fear with courage and grace. In the next chapter, we'll explore the importance of building healthy relationships and how cultivating authentic connections can strengthen your self-trust and overall well-being. Until then, carry this awareness of fear with you, not as a burden, but as an invitation to step boldly into the unknown. Chapter 8. Building Healthy Relationships. Healthy relationships are the foundation of a fulfilling and meaningful life, yet they often require more effort and intentionality than we realize. When we cultivate authentic, compassionate, and boundary-respecting connections with others, we not only enrich our lives but also deepen our ability to trust ourselves. Relationships serve as mirrors. They reflect back to us who we are, how we show up in the world, and what we value most. By nurturing these bonds, we create spaces where we can be fully seen, heard, and accepted, reinforcing our sense of self-worth and confidence. At their core, healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, empathy, and communication. These elements don't just happen naturally, they require conscious effort and mindfulness. One of the first steps toward building strong relationships is recognizing that no one exists in isolation. We're all interconnected, and the quality of our interactions ripples outward, shaping not only our individual well-being but also the collective energy of those around us. Buddhism teaches us that compassion, both for ourselves and others, is essential for creating harmony in our relationships. When we approach others with kindness and understanding, we foster an environment of trust and safety which allows both parties to thrive. Let's start by exploring why relationships are so integral to self-trust. Trusting yourself means believing that you're capable of navigating challenges, making decisions, and honoring your needs. However, this belief is often tested or strengthened through our interactions with others. For example, if you consistently surround yourself with people who doubt or undermine you, it becomes harder to maintain faith in your abilities. On the other hand, when you engage with individuals who uplift and support you, their encouragement reinforces your confidence. In this way, relationships act as scaffolding, providing structure and stability as we grow into our true selves. Boundaries are another critical component of healthy relationships, and they play a vital role in self-trust. Many of us struggle with setting boundaries because we fear rejection, conflict, or being perceived as selfish. Yet boundaries are acts of self-care and self-respect. They communicate your values, priorities, and limits, ensuring that your needs are met while fostering mutual understanding. Without clear boundaries, resentment and misunderstandings can arise, eroding trust in both yourself and the relationship. Learning to set boundaries isn't about shutting people out. It's about creating space for genuine connection. For instance, saying no to a request that doesn't align with your priorities demonstrates self-awareness and integrity, qualities that strengthen your self-trust over time. Effective communication is the glue that holds relationships together, and it's especially important when it comes to resolving conflicts. Misunderstandings are inevitable in any relationship, but how we handle them determines whether they become opportunities for growth or sources of division. Mindful communication involves listening deeply, speaking honestly, and staying present during difficult conversations. Instead of reacting defensively or lashing out, take a moment to breathe and consider the other person's perspective. Ask clarifying questions such as, "Can you help me understand where you're coming from?" This approach fosters empathy and reduces the likelihood of escalation. Over time, practicing mindful communication builds trust, not just in your relationships, but also in your ability to navigate challenging situations with grace. Self-awareness is another cornerstone of healthy relationships. Before we can connect authentically with others, we must first understand ourselves, our triggers, patterns, and emotional responses. Often unresolved issues within ourselves manifest in our relationships, causing tension or discord. For example, someone who struggles with low self-esteem might interpret constructive feedback as criticism, leading to defensiveness or withdrawal. By addressing these internal dynamics through practices like meditation, journaling, or therapy, we clear the path for healthier interactions. Self-awareness also helps us recognize when we're projecting our fears or insecurities onto others, enabling us to take responsibility for our part in relational challenges. Empathy. The ability to understand and share the feelings of another is perhaps the most transformative quality we can bring to our relationships. Empathy bridges gaps, dissolves barriers, and creates a sense of shared humanity. It reminds us that everyone is fighting unseen battles and doing the best they can with the tools they have. Practicing empathy doesn't mean agreeing with everything someone says or condoning harmful behavior. Rather, it means seeing the world through their eyes, even if only for a moment. This shift in perspective softens our hearts and opens us to deeper levels of connection. When we extend empathy to others, we simultaneously nurture self-compassion, reinforcing the idea that we're worthy of love and belonging. Loving kindness. Meditation is a powerful tool for cultivating empathy and strengthening relationships. This practice involves silently repeating phrases of goodwill toward yourself and others, such as, "May I be happy," "May I be healthy," "May I live with ease." Once you've directed these wishes inward, expand them outward to loved ones, acquaintances, strangers, and even those with whom you may have conflict. Loving kindness meditation cultivates a sense of interconnectedness, reminding us that everyone shares the same basic desires for happiness and freedom from suffering. Regularly practicing this meditation can soften feelings of anger, resentment, or judgment, paving the way for more harmonious relationships. Forgiveness is another essential aspect of building healthy relationships. Holding on to grudges or resentments weighs heavily on our hearts and minds, blocking us from experiencing true peace and connection. Forgiveness doesn't mean excusing harmful behavior or forgetting past hurts. Rather, it means releasing the grip that pain has on you, freeing yourself to move forward. This process begins with acknowledging the hurt, allowing yourself to feel whatever emotions arise, and then consciously choosing to let go. Forgiveness is ultimately an act of self-love. It's about reclaiming your power and refusing to let someone else's actions define your happiness. As you forgive others, you also learn to forgive yourself, further deepening your self-trust. To illustrate the impact of forgiveness and empathy in relationships, let me share a story. A few years ago, I found myself in a strained friendship with someone I deeply cared about. Miscommunications and unmet expectations had created distance between us, leaving me feeling frustrated and disconnected. Initially, I blamed my friend for the breakdown, convinced that they were solely responsible for the rift. But as I reflected on the situation through the lens of mindfulness and empathy, I began to see my own role in the conflict. I realized that my need for control and perfectionism had stifled open communication, preventing us from addressing issues early on. With this newfound awareness, I reached out to my friend, expressing my feelings honestly and apologizing for my part in the misunderstanding. Their willingness to meet me halfway restored our bond, teaching me the importance of vulnerability and accountability in relationships. Another key factor in building healthy relationships is authenticity. Authenticity means showing up as your true self without pretense or masks. It requires courage to reveal your vulnerabilities, share your dreams, and express your boundaries, knowing that not everyone will approve or understand. However, when you embrace authenticity, you attract people who resonate with your genuine essence, creating deeper and more meaningful connections. Authenticity also strengthens your self-trust because it affirms that you're enough exactly as you are. You don't need to pretend or perform to earn love and acceptance. Mindfulness plays a crucial role in fostering authenticity and presence in relationships. Too often, we interact with others while distracted, scrolling through our phones, thinking about what to say next, or mentally replaying past conversations. These habits prevent us from truly connecting. By bringing mindful awareness to our interactions, we give others our full attention, validating their experiences and strengthening the bond. For example, during a conversation, focus on the speaker's words, tone, and body language. Notice how they make you feel and respond thoughtfully rather than reactively. This level of attentiveness communicates care and respect, laying the groundwork for trust and intimacy. Gratitude also enriches our relationships by highlighting the positive aspects of our connections. Taking time to appreciate the people in your life, whether through verbal affirmations, handwritten notes, or small acts of kindness, strengthens your bond and reminds you of the abundance in your relationships. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's lacking to what's already present, fostering contentment and reducing the tendency to compare or compete. For instance, instead of dwelling on a disagreement with your partner, focus on the ways they contribute to your happiness and well-being. This reframing encourages patience, forgiveness, and a deeper appreciation for the relationship. Finally, it's important to remember that not all relationships are meant to last forever, and that's okay. Some connections come into our lives temporarily, serving specific purposes before naturally fading away. Letting go of relationships that no longer serve us is a form of self-care and self-trust. Clinging to toxic or draining dynamics out of guilt, obligation, or fear only depletes our energy and undermines our growth. Trust that ending a relationship doesn't mean failure. It simply means honoring your truth and making space for new, healthier connections to emerge. As we conclude this chapter, I invite you to reflect on your own relationships. Are there areas where you could benefit from setting clearer boundaries, practicing mindful communication, or extending empathy and forgiveness? How might prioritizing authenticity and gratitude deepen your connections with others and with yourself? Remember, relationships are living, breathing entities that require nurturing and care. By investing in them with intentionality and love, you not only enrich your life, but also reinforce your belief in your ability to create and sustain meaningful bonds. In the next chapter, we'll explore the joy of simplicity and how embracing minimalism can enhance your self-trust and overall well-being. Until then, carry this awareness of relationships with you, not as a burden, but as an opportunity to connect more deeply with yourself and the world around you. Chapter 9: Finding Joy in Simplicity. Simplicity is one of the most profound yet overlooked paths to self-trust, peace, and fulfillment. In a world that glorifies busyness, material wealth, and constant achievement, embracing simplicity can feel countercultural, but it's precisely this practice that allows us to reconnect with what truly matters. By stripping away distractions and focusing on the essentials, we create space for clarity, joy, and authenticity to flourish. This chapter will explore how simplifying your life, both externally and internally, can deepen your trust in yourself and bring you closer to lasting happiness. At its core, simplicity is about aligning your life with your values and priorities. It's not about deprivation or living an austere existence. Rather, it's about intentionally choosing what adds meaning and purpose to your days, while letting go of what drains your energy or distracts you from your true path. Buddhism offers a powerful framework for understanding simplicity through the concept of non-attachment. Non-attachment doesn't mean renouncing all possessions or relationships. It means releasing the need to cling to things, outcomes, or identities as sources of security or validation. When we let go of these attachments, we free ourselves from the endless cycle of craving and dissatisfaction, opening up to a deeper sense of contentment and trust in life's unfolding. One of the most immediate benefits of simplicity is reduced stress and overwhelm. Modern life bombards us with demands, from work deadlines and social obligations to endless streams of information vying for our attention. The sheer volume of stimuli can leave us feeling scattered, anxious, and disconnected from ourselves. Simplifying your environment and schedule creates breathing room, giving you the mental and emotional bandwidth to focus on what truly nourishes you. For example, decluttering your physical space, whether it's your home, workspace, or digital devices, removes visual noise and helps you feel more grounded. Similarly, streamlining your commitments ensures that you're investing your time and energy in activities that reflect your deepest aspirations. Let's delve into why simplicity strengthens self-trust. Trusting yourself requires believing that you have the wisdom and resources to navigate life's complexities without needing external validation or excessive control. When you simplify your life, you strip away the layers of distraction and noise that obscure your inner voice. Without the constant pull of societal expectations or consumerist pressures, you're able to tune into your intuition and make decisions based on what feels authentic and aligned. Over time, this practice reinforces your belief in your ability to discern what's best for you, even in uncertain situations. Minimalism, a lifestyle centered around intentional living and mindful consumption, is a practical way to embrace simplicity. Minimalism isn't just about owning fewer things, it's about creating a life filled with purpose, presence, and joy. To begin simplifying, start by evaluating your possessions. Ask yourself, does this item bring me value or joy? Does it serve a practical purpose? If the answer is no, consider letting it go. Donating, selling, or recycling items you no longer need not only clears physical clutter, but also symbolizes a shift toward prioritizing experiences over objects. As you pare down your belongings, notice how lighter and freer you feel, not just in your surroundings, but also in your mind. Simplifying your schedule is equally important. Many of us overcommit out of fear of missing out, FOMO, or a desire to please others, leaving little time for rest, reflection, or activities that truly fulfill us. To reclaim your time, take inventory of your weekly routines. Identify tasks or obligations that don't align with your values or contribute to your well-being, and gently release them. Replace these activities with moments of stillness, creativity, or connection. For instance, instead of cramming every evening with errands or entertainment, carve out time for meditation, journaling, or a quiet walk in nature. These small acts of simplicity replenish your spirit and remind you of the beauty in slowing down. Mindfulness plays a crucial role in cultivating simplicity because it trains you to live fully in the present moment. Often we complicate our lives by dwelling on the past or worrying about the future, losing sight of the richness available right now. Mindful awareness anchors you in the here and now, helping you appreciate the simple pleasures that surround you. A warm cup of tea, the sound of birds chirping, or the texture of sunlight streaming through a window. When you savor these moments, you realize that happiness doesn't depend on grand achievements or elaborate plans. It resides in the ordinary, everyday details of life. Gratitude naturally complements simplicity by shifting your focus from scarcity to abundance. Instead of chasing more money, more possessions, more accolades, you begin to see the wealth already present in your life. Gratitude invites you to celebrate what you have, rather than obsess over what you lack. For example, if you've simplified your wardrobe to include only versatile, high-quality pieces, express gratitude for the ease and functionality they provide. Or if you've chosen to spend less time scrolling through social media, appreciate the extra hours you now have to read, write, or connect with loved ones. Each expression of thanks reinforces your decision to live simply and affirms that you're enough exactly as you are. Another aspect of simplicity is learning to say no, a skill that directly supports self-trust. Saying yes to everything spreads you thin, diluting your energy and attention. On the other hand, saying no to non-essential commitments protects your time and honors your boundaries. At first, saying no might feel uncomfortable, especially if you're accustomed to people-pleasing or avoiding conflict. However, each no is an act of self-respect, affirming that your needs and priorities matter. Over time, this practice builds confidence in your ability to advocate for yourself and make choices that reflect your authentic desires. To illustrate the transformative power of simplicity, let me share a personal story. A few years ago, I found myself caught in a whirlwind of activity, juggling multiple projects, attending endless meetings, and trying to maintain a packed social calendar. While I told myself that staying busy was proof of productivity, deep down, I felt exhausted and unfulfilled. One day, after a particularly overwhelming week, I decided to experiment with simplifying my life. I began by tidying my apartment, donating clothes and books I hadn't used in years. Then I reviewed my schedule and cancelled several commitments that didn't spark joy or align with my goals. Finally, I set aside blocks of time each day for mindfulness practices like meditation and journaling. Slowly but surely, I noticed a shift. My mind felt clearer, my body more relaxed, and my heart more open. Most importantly, I trusted myself more deeply, knowing that I had the clarity and courage to prioritize what truly mattered. Simplicity also fosters creativity and innovation. When you remove unnecessary distractions, you create fertile ground for new ideas and insights to emerge. Artists, writers, and entrepreneurs often find their greatest inspiration during periods of simplicity, when their minds are unburdened by clutter and chaos. For example, imagine setting aside a weekend to disconnect from technology and immerse yourself in nature. Without the constant ping of notifications or the pressure to multitask, you might discover solutions to problems you'd been struggling with or uncover passions you hadn't realized were waiting to be explored. Simplicity gives you permission to dream boldly and act authentically. Financial simplicity is another area worth exploring. Consumer culture encourages us to equate happiness with material wealth, leading many of us to accumulate debt or overspend in pursuit of fleeting satisfaction. Practicing financial simplicity involves budgeting mindfully, distinguishing between wants and needs, and finding contentment with less. This approach not only reduces financial stress but also reinforces the idea that true wealth lies in relationships, experiences, and inner peace. For instance, instead of splurging on expensive gadgets or vacations, invest in meaningful activities like volunteering, taking a course, or spending quality time with loved ones. These choices enrich your life in ways that money alone cannot. Simplifying your diet can also enhance your overall well-being and self-trust. Many of us eat unconsciously, consuming processed foods or indulging in habits that leave us feeling sluggish and disconnected from our bodies. By adopting a simpler, more mindful approach to eating, focusing on whole, nutrient-dense foods and savoring each bite, you honor your body's needs and cultivate a healthier relationship with food. Pay attention to how different foods affect your energy levels, mood, and digestion, and use this awareness to guide your choices. Eating simply becomes an act of self-care, reminding you that nourishing your body is an integral part of trusting yourself. Finally, simplicity extends to our digital lives. Technology has revolutionized the way we communicate, learn, and entertain ourselves, but it can also overwhelm and fragment our attention. To simplify your digital habits, establish boundaries around screen time. Designate tech-free zones or periods, such as during meals or before bed, to protect your mental health and foster deeper connections with those around you. Curate your online spaces by unfollowing accounts that trigger comparison or negativity, and filling your feed with content that inspires and uplifts you. By reclaiming control over your digital consumption, you create space for real-world interactions and introspection. As we conclude this chapter, I invite you to reflect on how simplicity might transform your life. Are there areas where you could benefit from paring down your possessions, schedule, finances, or digital habits? How might embracing simplicity help you reconnect with your values, intuition, and joy? Remember, simplicity isn't a destination, it's a practice, a continual process of shedding what no longer serves you and making room for what does. Trust that each step towards simplicity brings you closer to a life of authenticity, peace, and fulfillment. In the next chapter, we'll integrate all the practices we've explored so far and discuss how to weave them seamlessly into your daily routine. Until then, carry this spirit of simplicity with you, not as a restriction, but as an invitation to live more fully and freely. Chapter 10. Integrating practices into daily life. We aim integrating the practices we've explored throughout this journey: Buddhism, meditation, mindfulness, gratitude, simplicity, and more, into your daily life is where the true magic happens. These tools are not meant to exist in isolation or as occasional indulgences. They're designed to become part of the fabric of your everyday existence. When you weave these practices into the rhythm of your days, you create a sustainable foundation for self-trust, resilience, and joy. This chapter will guide you through how to make these principles actionable, practical, and deeply rooted in your routine so that they continue to support and uplift you long after this video ends. At its heart, integration is about consistency, not perfection. It's easy to feel inspired by new ideas and commit to sweeping changes, but lasting transformation comes from small, incremental shifts repeated over time. Think of it like planting seeds in a garden. You don't expect flowers to bloom overnight. Instead, you nurture the soil, water the plants regularly, and trust that growth will happen naturally. Similarly, incorporating these practices requires patience, gentleness, and a willingness to experiment until you find what works best for you. Let's start by exploring how to build a personalized practice plan. One of the most common barriers to integration is overwhelm, the feeling that there's too much to do or remember. To avoid this, focus on 1 or 2 practices at a time. For example, if meditation feels accessible and meaningful to you, begin with just 5 minutes each morning. Once that becomes a habit, layer in another element such as mindful breathing during your commute or expressing gratitude before meals. By stacking habits gradually, you prevent burnout and ensure that each practice has room to take root. Creating structure can also help solidify your routines. Designate specific times of day for certain activities, aligning them with moments when they'll be most effective. Morning is often an ideal time for meditation or journaling because it sets a calm, intentional tone for the rest of the day. Evening, on the other hand, is perfect for reflection, gratitude, or winding down with gentle stretches or breath work. If your schedule doesn't allow for fixed times, anchor your practices to existing habits, a technique known as habit stacking. For instance, you might meditate for 3 minutes after brushing your teeth, or practice gratitude or waiting for your coffee to brew. Linking new behaviors to familiar ones makes them easier to adopt and maintain. Mindfulness in particular thrives when integrated seamlessly into daily tasks. Rather than treating mindfulness as a separate activity, infuse it into everything you do. Whether you're washing dishes, walking to work, or folding laundry, bring your full attention to the task at hand. Notice the sensations in your body, the sounds around you, and the rhythm of your movements. Over time, these moments of presence accumulate, training your mind to stay grounded even in chaotic situations. Mindfulness isn't something you do, it's a way of being, a lens through which you experience life. Gratitude, too, can be woven into countless aspects of your day. Start by identifying natural opportunities to pause and appreciate what's around you. For example, while sipping your morning tea, take a moment to acknowledge the warmth of the cup in your hands, the aroma rising from the liquid, and the quiet stillness of the early hours. During conversations, listen deeply and express thanks for the connection, whether verbally or internally. At night, review your day and note 3 things you're grateful for, no matter how small. The key is to make gratitude a reflexive response, shifting your default mindset from scarcity to abundance. Simplicity plays a crucial role in sustaining these practices because it reduces friction and creates space for them to flourish. Simplifying your environment, both physical and digital, removes distractions and allows you to focus on what truly matters. Keep your meditation cushion or journal easily accessible, declutter your workspace to minimize visual noise, and curate your phone apps to prioritize mindfulness tools over endless scrolling. Similarly, simplify your schedule by setting boundaries around commitments and carving out dedicated time for self-care. When your external world feels orderly and intentional, your internal world follows suit. Building healthy relationships also reinforces your ability to integrate these practices. Surround yourself with people who respect and encourage your journey towards self-trust and mindfulness. Share your intentions with trusted friends or family members, inviting them to join you in cultivating gratitude, simplicity, or meditation. Having a supportive community not only holds you accountable, but also amplifies the benefits of these practices. For instance, practicing loving-kindness meditation together or exchanging gratitude reflections can deepen your connections and inspire mutual growth. Self-compassion is essential as you navigate this process of integration. There will inevitably be days when you miss a meditation session, forget to pause and breathe, or fall back into old patterns. Instead of berating yourself, approach these lapses with kindness and curiosity. Ask yourself, what got in the way? How can I adjust my approach moving forward? Remember, every step counts, even the missteps. They provide valuable insights into what works for you and what doesn't, helping you refine your practice over time. To illustrate the power of consistent integration, let me share a story. A few years ago, I decided to commit to a daily mindfulness practice, starting with just 3 minutes of focused breathing each morning. At first, it felt awkward and forced. I'd often forget or rush through it, thinking, what difference could 3 minutes possibly make? But I stuck with it, reminding myself that progress was more important than perfection. Slowly, those 3 minutes expanded to 10, then 20, I began incorporating mindful moments throughout my day, pausing to notice the sensation of my feet touching the ground, savoring the taste of food, or tuning into the sounds of nature during a walk. Over time, mindfulness stopped being something I did and became a natural extension of how I moved through the world. This shift wasn't dramatic or sudden, it was the result of countless tiny efforts compounded over months and years. Another powerful strategy for integrating these practices is ritualizing them. Rituals add meaning and intentionality to ordinary actions, transforming them into sacred moments. For example, light a candle before meditating to signal the beginning of your practice. Create a nightly gratitude ritual by writing in a journal or sharing highlights with a partner. Even simple acts like preparing your favorite tea or stretching gently upon waking can serve as anchors for mindfulness and self-care. Rituals remind you to slow down and honor the significance of the present moment. Technology, when used mindfully, can also support your efforts to integrate these practices. Apps designed for meditation, journaling, or habit tracking can keep you accountable and motivated. Use alarms or reminders to prompt pauses for breathing exercises or moments of gratitude. That said, balance is key. Ensure that technology enhances rather than detracts from your focus on presence and simplicity. Set limits on screen time and resist the urge to measure every aspect of your progress digitally. Finally, trust the process. Integration isn't about achieving some ideal state of enlightenment or flawlessness. It's about showing up consistently, even when it feels messy or uncertain. Trust that each small effort contributes to a larger shift, a gradual reorientation toward greater peace, clarity, and self-trust. Celebrate the wins, no matter how minor they may seem. Did you manage to meditate for 5 minutes today? That's a victory. Did you catch yourself reacting impulsively and pause to breathe instead? Another win. Every action builds momentum, creating a ripple effect that touches every area of your life. As we conclude this chapter and our exploration of trusting yourself through Buddhism, meditation, and mindfulness, I invite you to reflect on the steps you can take today to begin integrating these practices into your life. Choose one or two that resonate most deeply with you and commit to experimenting with them for the next week. Notice how they affect your mood, energy, and sense of well-being. Be patient with yourself and remember that this is a lifelong journey, not a destination. Trust that you already possess everything you need to thrive. All you have to do is show up again and again. In the closing section of this video, we'll summarize the key insights from our journey and offer a final word of encouragement. Until then, carry this awareness of integration with you, not as a burden, but as an invitation to live fully, authentically, and joyfully. Thank you for joining me on this profound journey of self-discovery through Buddhism, meditation, and mindfulness. Over the past 2 hours, we've explored how these timeless practices can help you trust yourself more deeply, navigate life's challenges with grace, and cultivate lasting peace and fulfillment. From understanding the foundations of Buddhism to embracing imperfection, gratitude, simplicity, and healthy relationships, each chapter has offered tools and insights designed to empower you on your path. As we bring this session to a close, I want to leave you with a few final thoughts. Trusting yourself isn't about having all the answers or never feeling afraid. It's about showing up authentically, even when the road ahead is uncertain. It's about listening to your inner wisdom, honoring your unique journey, and knowing that you are enough exactly as you are. The practices we've discussed, meditation, mindfulness, gratitude, simplicity, are not quick fixes but lifelong companions. They're here to guide you, support you, and remind you of your inherent strength and resilience. Remember, transformation doesn't happen overnight. It's the result of small, consistent actions repeated over time. Whether it's taking 5 minutes to meditate, pausing to breathe during a stressful moment, or expressing gratitude for the little things, every effort matters. These moments may seem insignificant in isolation, but together they create a ripple effect that touches every aspect of your life. Trust the process, trust yourself, and trust that each step you take brings you closer to the clarity, joy, and fulfillment you seek. I also want to acknowledge the courage it takes to embark on this kind of exploration in a world that often encourages us to look outside ourselves for validation. Choosing to turn inward is a radical act of self-love and empowerment. You've already taken the first step simply by being here today, and that's something worth celebrating. Carry this spirit of curiosity and openness with you as you move forward, knowing that you have everything you need within you to thrive. If anything from our time together resonated with you, I encourage you to share your reflections in the comments below. Your words might inspire someone else who's on a similar journey. And if you found value in this video, consider subscribing to the Mindful Zone for more content like this. Together we can create a community rooted in compassion, authenticity, and growth. Before we part ways, take a deep breath and let it out slowly. Feel the weight of your body against the chair or cushion beneath you. Notice the sounds around you, the rhythm of your breath, the gentle beating of your heart. This moment, right here, right now, is yours. Trust that you are exactly where you need to be, doing exactly what you need to do. Life will continue to unfold in its own mysterious and beautiful way, and you have the power to meet it with courage, kindness, and presence. Until next time, may you walk gently, breathe deeply, and trust yourself completely. Thank you for being here, for showing up, and for committing to your growth and well-being. Namaste. Life will continue to unfold in its own mysterious and beautiful way, and you have the power to meet it with courage, kindness, and presence. Until next time, may you walk gently, breathe deeply, and trust yourself completely. Thank you for being here, for showing up, and for committing to your growth and well-being. Namaste.